The path to peace between Russia and Ukraine has been a long and arduous one, marked by tentative steps, broken promises, and the ever-present shadow of conflict. As direct talks are set to commence in Istanbul on this 15th of May, 2025, it's crucial to remember the key moments that have defined this tortuous journey. Rewind to December 2019, in the heart of Paris. The leaders of Russia, Ukraine, France, and Germany gathered, a quartet hoping to alleviate the simmering conflict in eastern Ukraine. Presidents Putin and Zelenskiy met face-to-face, under the watchful eyes of Chancellor Merkel and President Macron. The atmosphere was formal, the stakes immense. While commitments were made, a prisoner exchange, a renewed ceasefire agreement for the Donbass region, a definitive resolution on the core political issues remained elusive. The handshake that never came symbolized the deep chasm separating the two nations. Fast forward to the tumultuous days following Russia's full-scale invasion in February 2022. As the world reeled, President Zelenskiy announced an unexpected development: Ukrainian and Russian officials would meet on the Belarusian border, near the Pripyat River. The talks were to be held without preconditions, a fragile glimmer of hope amidst the escalating violence. On February 28, 2022, against a backdrop of deepening economic sanctions against Russia, delegations from both sides convened on the Belarusian border. The location itself was significant, bordering a strong Russian ally, a staging ground for the very invasion they sought to halt. The air was thick with tension, the outcome uncertain. Diplomacy shifted to Turkey in March 2022. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov and his Ukrainian counterpart Dmytro Kuleba met, a meeting brokered by Turkey, a NATO member offering to mediate. Images captured the two diplomats seated opposite each other, the weight of the conflict heavy in the space between them. Later that month, Istanbul became the focal point. Peace talks between Russia and Ukraine took place, hosted by Turkish President Erdogan. A significant development emerged: Russia pledged to scale down its military operations around Kyiv and northern Ukraine. For the first time since the invasion, a tangible concession, a sliver of optimism. A draft framework for a potential settlement, known as the Istanbul Communiqué, was agreed upon. Yet, by May, the talks had broken down, leaving the fragile hope hanging in the balance. In July 2022, against the backdrop of a looming global food crisis, a landmark agreement was reached in Istanbul. Russia and Ukraine signed a deal to reopen Ukrainian Black Sea ports for grain exports, a testament to the persistent efforts of the United Nations and Turkey. A moment of tangible cooperation amidst the ongoing conflict, offering a lifeline to global food security. However, this fragile agreement would later be suspended by Russia in July 2023. Negotiations saw a renewed, albeit complex, phase in early 2025. The then U.S. president stated in February that Russia's President Putin had expressed a desire for peace during a phone call. This was followed by a significant meeting between U.S. and Russian officials in Riyadh, the most substantial talks between the two nations on ending the war to that point. Ukraine, however, was not present, emphasizing that no peace deal could be made on its behalf. Tensions remained evident. A public exchange between the then U.S. President and President Zelenskiy in February highlighted the complexities and the differing perspectives on the support provided to Ukraine.
We had a very good talk with, people didn't really know what President Putin's thoughts were, but I think I can say with great confidence he wants to see it ended also. That's good. You're all dressed up today.
Yes, I had to. How are you, Mr. President?
He's all dressed up today. This war would have never happened. We would have had a deal negotiated for you without having to go through. You're playing cards. You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country, that's back to you, far more than a lot of people said they should have.
Have you said thank you once? And we are thankful. I said thanks
You haven't been alone.
Cabinet.
You haven't been alone. We gave you, through this stupid president, $350 billion. We gave you military equipment. And you men are brave, but they had to use our military.
What about
if you didn't have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
In 3 days. I heard it from Putin. In 3 days. This is something
maybe
new.
Less.
In 2 weeks, of course, yeah.
It's going to be a very hard thing to do business like this.
Слушай, руководствуясь гуманитарными соображениями, сегодня с 18:00 часов до 00 часов с воскресенья на понедельник российская сторона объявляет пасхальное перемирие. Приказываю на этот период остановить все боевые действия. Исходим из того, что украинская сторона последует нашему примеру. При этом наши войска должны быть готовы к отражению возможных нарушений перемирия и провокаций со стороны противника, любых его агрессивных действий.
In April 2025, a unilateral Easter ceasefire was declared by President Putin, a temporary cessation of hostilities. However, Ukraine met this with skepticism, proposing a longer, 30-day truce instead. Diplomatic efforts continued in unexpected locations. During the funeral of Pope Francis in Rome, the then U.S. President and President Zelenskiy held a one-on-one meeting at the Vatican, seeking to revive the faltering peace efforts. April also saw a new dimension to the relationship between Ukraine and the United States, with the signing of a minerals deal, promising preferential access for the U.S. and funding for Ukraine's reconstruction. As May began, Russia marked Victory Day with a grand parade, attended by China's President Xi Jinping. Against the backdrop of this commemoration, President Putin proposed a new round of direct talks with Ukraine in Istanbul, set for May 15. He emphasized the aim, a durable peace, addressing the root causes of the conflict. President Putin asserted that it was Ukraine who had previously withdrawn from negotiations in 2022, urging Kyiv to resume direct talks without preconditions in Istanbul, a venue that had seen previous attempts at dialogue. President Zelenskiy confirmed his attendance in Turkey, expressing his hope that this time, President Putin would be present personally, ready for genuine dialogue to end the devastating war. And so, the stage is set once again in Istanbul. Years of conflict, punctuated by fleeting moments of diplomatic engagement, have led to this point. Whether this new round of direct talks will finally break the cycle of violence and pave the way for a lasting peace remains to be seen. The world watches with cautious optimism, aware of the long and difficult road